For them, it is merely another routine day at the office. For us, it is the adventure of our entire lives. For most people, a day at the office involves putting on a shirt, turning on the computer, and getting to work. Well, if you work from home, you might not even put on a shirt, maybe not even pants. While we dream of finishing to escape to the sea, disconnect from the world by sailing, embark on a great voyage, or spend a few days anchored in one of the paradises our coasts offer us. To make that tranquility possible, there are many people who look after our safety at sea. Among them is the Maritime Rescue and Safety Society, which since its founding in 1992 has been ensuring the safety of all those who work, live, or simply enjoy the sea. With more than 680,000 people rescued or assisted in the last 30 years, for them, a day at the office is something different. 680,000?
680,000? With that, you can fill 3 large stadiums.
Someone must have rescued him more than once for sure. German is the head of the Santander Rescue Coordination Center. Born in Bilbao, his life has always been connected to the sea. A merchant marine by training, he has sailed for many years in all seas and all types of vessels. He knows firsthand the many problems and big challenges sailors face. He joined the Maritime Rescue Service over 25 years ago, holding various roles of responsibility before finally reaching the Santander base. Every morning, he goes to his workplace with a mission to coordinate and ensure the proper functioning of the rescue service in his SAR area. Cesar is the maritime captain of Santander. Born in Astillero and watching ships being built and repaired since childhood, his life could not be very far from the sea. He studied nautical sciences in Santander, and after 14 years working in the private sector, he joined the General Administration of the Navy, serving as an inspector throughout Spain until returning to Santander, where he became the maritime captain in 2016. He is the highest civil authority in the maritime province of Santander. In the event of a serious emergency at sea, all available resources are directed through him. Maika is a maritime rescue controller in Santander, from Reynosa. She discovered her vocation by luck or chance while studying civil marine, where she fell in love with the sea and her work as a pilot on passenger ships. She joined the Maritime Rescue 21 years ago and, before returning to her homeland, spent 15 years as a controller in Algeciras, one of the areas in the world with the most traffic and incidents. Their mission is to manage and coordinate maritime traffic in their area, provide meteorological and safety information services to ships, assess risks, and above all, respond immediately to emergencies by coordinating operations and mobilizing the necessary resources. Among those means is Miguel, captain of the Salvamento in Santander. Born in Laredo, the son of fishermen, he has lived the sea since childhood as a fisherman, much to his father's dismay. He combined his academic pursuits with fishing tides until the year 1995. With the recent establishment of Maritime Rescue, he became a part of it in Ibiza, gaining knowledge while the Maritime Rescue organization itself was evolving and acquiring its distinct identity. He spent 5 years until he could return to his homeland in the year 2000 and continue working as a chief engineer while studying to become the captain of the Salvamar. On board is the person responsible for the Salvamar de Nef, one of the rapid intervention vessels that are the first to arrive at incidents, always prepared to face all kinds of circumstances in its mission. In a similar situation is Isaac, a rescuer and crane operator in the Halleimer units of Maritime Rescue in Santander. A Cantabrian with a calling for service, he has been rescuing people at sea since he was 16 years old when he began working as a lifeguard on the beaches. Aware that his life had to be connected to the sea, he studied civil marine, serving on passenger ships as an officer while preparing for the tests for what was his true vocation, rescuing people at sea. 10 years in maritime rescue have led him to know all the bases until he finally and recently arrived in Santander. His work takes him to the most complicated situations, lowering to distressed ships, jumping into the sea in the middle of winter, rescuing people in the worst situations. It is something that requires a lot of dedication, but none of them work alone. In each unit, a complete team works to ensure everything functions. Sailors, mechanics, pilots, crane operators, all are part of the mechanism and are key pieces in every operation, requiring a true vocation for serving others. In their hands are the lives of their colleagues and many people who face difficulties at sea. More than 500 people distributed across 20 rescue coordination centers and 6 strategic bases for intervention and pollution control are part of maritime rescue. 11 helicopters, 3 airplanes, 56 rescue boats, 5 patrol boats, 9 tugboats, and 5 multi-purpose vessels comprise the maritime rescue fleet that diligently watches over us each and every day. And all of this only works with people. Early spring mornings are usually calm, especially when it comes to recreational boats. Few people at sea means fewer problems, and life goes on calmly between training, education, and surveillance. On the Salvamento, the crew on duty stays busy with tasks like cleaning, painting, and thorough inspections. Everything must be kept in top condition to be ready to set out any time. During their shift, they always stay close to the vessel, ready to set sail if circumstances require it. At the same time, at the airport, the Helima crew and mechanics begin their day. Each day, they conduct a comprehensive briefing to thoroughly review the meteorological conditions for the forthcoming hours, the current state of the sea, the notices in Vigo, the planned maintenance activities, or the ongoing training sessions they undertake to remain well prepared for situations that evolve on a daily basis. On calm days, they don't even need to fly. Isaac takes the opportunity to check his personal equipment and ensure everything is in good condition and ready for use. Little is left to improvisation. Everything is carefully procedured. Meanwhile, Micah continues with her routine tasks in the control room. There is little activity at the port today. Hardly any recreational boats can be seen these days. A sailboat crosses the Bay of Santander. The proximity of the control center to the sea ensures a visual confirmation of the information displayed on the AIS and all the screens that make up their workstation. The day seems very calm and Micah continues to manage the port traffic. Around 11 in the morning, an emergency signal breaks the calm of the room. A distress alert enters the control center system. Even before she can contact them, the radio sounds on channel 16.
Mayday, mayday. This is the yacht Sammy. We have had an accident and need assistance. Over.
Sammy. This is Maritime Rescue Santander. Could you please tell me your current position?
Maritime Rescue, this is the sailboat Sammy. We are about 2 miles north of Santa Marina. Over.
Sammy, Maritime Rescue. Can you tell me how many people are on board?
Maritime Rescue, this is the sailboat Sammy. We are 4 people on board and we have an injured person who has hit their head and is bleeding heavily. Over.
Sammy, Maritime Rescue Santander. Yes, I have you located on the AIS screen. We are going to mobilize the units. The helicopter and our Salvamar vessel are heading to your position. Please remain calm and ensure that you put on your life jackets.
Maritime Rescue, this is the sailboat Sammy. Instructions received. We will proceed to follow them. We are putting on our life jackets and will remain on standby. Over.
Okay, received. Please remain calm as the units will arrive in 20 minutes to evacuate the injured person.
Immediately, Micah activates the entire coordination system. Her work, often invisible, is essential for the whole mechanism of maritime rescue to function.
Hello, Salvama. Yes, from the center. Yes, Helima. Hello, look, I'm calling you from the center.
Send the alert to the Salvamar and immediately initiate the air evacuation protocol with the Helima. The Salvamar will set sail immediately. Isaac was performing inspection and maintenance tasks on his personal equipment, while the rest of the Helima's on-duty crew attended to their tasks at the base. They receive an urgent call from Maritime Rescue and promptly activate the entire emergency procedure.
Yes, Helima, hello, look, I'm calling you from the center. There's a vessel that needs help north of Isla de la Marina and they have a seriously injured person. Yes, the position is 2 miles north of Isla de la Marina. Okay, notify us upon takeoff. Thank you.
They receive the alert, and while the mechanics take the helicopter out of the hangar, an emergency briefing is conducted. Here, the situation is assessed and the method to be used is decided on dry land, from the water with a harness or with a basket.
Before we approach the ship, we will give you a briefing from a distance so that we don't disturb too much with the noise.
If we want the stern to be there when we make the entrance, it might be good to tell them that depending on the wind they have, they should point the bow to one side or the other so that when we arrive, it's like that.
Have them position the stern to the helicopter, but it will descend with an inverted line and we'll leave it as close to the ship as we can.
Nothing is left to chance. Everything is meticulously planned. However, there can always be unforeseen events. The ultimate decisions regarding the operation will not be finalized until they are actually on the ship. They complete the preparation of their equipment and proceed to board. Much like in an action-packed movie, our heroes stride towards the helicopter to execute their mission. But no, in reality everything unfolds more naturally. The pilots board the helicopter and perform the initial checks, while the rest of the team finishes getting ready. Nothing is left to chance in the Helimer. The procedure is fundamental and sets the pace for all operations. The Helimer 221 is an Augusta Westland AW139 with a 5-blade rotor dual turbine with 1200 kilowatts of power, allowing its 6-ton weight more than this ship to move through the air at 306 kilometers per hour. The pre-flight check procedure is initiated. It is necessary. The most important thing is not to take off, but to do so under the right conditions to ensure a safe return. Static tests are conducted, the turbines are started one by one, and power tests are performed to ensure everything is in order. After the final checks, they request permission from the control tower to take off.
Are we completely prepared then?
Affirmative.
Outstanding. With 88, we advance to 98. Very well, we are completely prepared and ready for departure.
They take off and immediately head towards the distressed vessel. They know there is an injured person who will likely require evacuation.
Hello, Helimer 221, Maritime Rescue Santander. I am sending you the position. We have the sailboat on the AIS. The position is 43 degrees, 30.1 minutes north, 003 degrees, 43.85 minutes west.
Okay, let's head over there. As mentioned, we're going to do it like we've done before, a traffic over Sardinero. We'll switch to hover and get closer to 125 feet. We lowered the girth to 110.
Certainly. Kindly notify us once the injured individual is safely on board. We have already sent the ambulance to be present at the airport.
During the flight, and with the information received from the control room, they conduct a quick briefing on board about how the operation will be carried out. They establish initial communication with the sailboat to inform them about the entire operation process.
This is Seimei. We are ready. Over.
We will be arriving at your location in approximately 15 minutes, a little less than that. Those on deck should wear life jackets and gloves. We will lower one of our rescuers, and they will swim to the vessel. Once the rescuer boards the vessel, they will inform the rest of the tasks. Please also convey it to the people on deck.
This is Seimei for Helimer. We have the sails lowered, we have the life jackets on, the crew will have gloves on deck, and the instructions are being relayed. Over.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We have arrived at your location.
They fly very fast. In less than 3 minutes, they are already next to the sailboat. They hover beside the boat. They exchange the final communications, and after observing the situation of the vessel and the weather conditions, they decide how to proceed.
No obstacles behind us, right, Mario? You can open the doors.
Isaac hooks himself with his harness to the crane hook and begins the descent, maintaining communication with the Kabila.
We are presently descending, positioned at an altitude of approximately 50 feet.
Once in the water, detach and swim towards the stern, dragging a bag with the connection line to the Helimer. The first step is to board, assess the situation, reassure the crew, and determine how and where the evacuation will be carried out. A sailboat always presents more difficulties for a helicopter. Many obstacles on the deck prevent a direct extraction. Isaac thinks about how easy it is from a motorboat. Upon boarding, he finds a relatively calm crew and the injured person with a severe contusion, but conscious and able to cooperate. The quickest and safest way to evacuate him will be with the harness. The injured person appears to be able to do so without complications. Also assess the situation of the ship and ask about the position of the Salvamar. Furthermore, the water ingress seems to be under control with the bilge pump and the remaining crew is in a condition to continue. He decides to evacuate only the injured person and leave the rest in the hands of the Salvamar. For maritime rescue, the priority is always people, not vessels. He lowers the harness again, attaches the injured person alongside him, and they ascend with the crane to the helicopter. This is the quickest method for handling today's situation. With the injured person already on board, they confirm that the Salvamar is already arriving and head toward the airport. They contact the control room, which informs them that the ambulance is already waiting for them at the airport. It's time to return. The injured person remains conscious and stable, but in these cases, any concern is warranted. Micah receives confirmation that they have landed successfully, although the operation is still ongoing on the Salvamar. Miguel is having a calm day with no outings scheduled for today, and he is in the office working on the schedules and inspections on the ship. The crew is concentrating on maintenance activities. The telephone rings and he receives a call from the control center.
Good morning, Salvamar Denef.
Hello, Salvamar. We have a sailboat at the entrance of the bay north of Isla de la Marina. They have an injured person on board. The helicopter is also going.
We are preparing to head out.
Okay, thank you.
The Salvamar Denef entered service on January 24, 2001. It is an Alusafe 2000 with a length of 21 meters, equipped with two 1400 horsepower diesel turbines and a crew of 3. A vessel that, despite its years, is robust and reliable, as it has demonstrated on multiple occasions at sea. The Salvamar is always ready to set sail, and the startup procedure is short and quick. Before the Helimar had taken off, they were already on their way. Miguel communicates the departure to the control room and receives more information about the situation.
Santander Rescue. Santander Rescue. Salvamar Denef. Yes, note this down. Departure time 11s.
The journey is fast. The Salvamar can travel at 33 knots, very fast for moving through water, although nothing compared to the 160 knots of the Helimar that quickly overtakes it. During the navigation, they discuss the situation, prepare the towing elements, and bring the bilge pump on deck. They were certain they were going to need it. On the way, they listened to the conversation between the helicopter and the vessel and soon received the news that the injured person has already been evacuated. With the vessel in sight, they contact the control room while watching the Helimar move away, returning to the airport. Their turn came.
Santander Rescue. Salvamar Denef.
Yes, Salvamar Denef, Maritime Rescue, go ahead.
We are in the area and have the vessel in sight.
All right, let us know when the tow is secure.
Well received.
They established communication with the vessel and gave them instructions for the maneuver of mooring alongside.
We are going to start the estimation maneuver to pass you the motor pump for the water leak.
Perfect, we are ready. Over.
We are going to come alongside on the side on our port side on your starboard side.
Okay, received.
The Salvamar approached on the starboard side as instructed. The captain of the vessel informed them that they had lost the electrical system, were unable to start the engine, and that there was already more than half a meter of water inside. Everything was disorganized, but the vessel remained afloat. They inserted the hose inside and began the pumping operation. The priority was to keep the vessel afloat. Once they thoroughly verified that the entire crew was completely safe, the pump started to expel water rapidly, and within just a few minutes, the interior was almost entirely dry. Keeping the waterway in check would be easy. They immediately informed the control room, which was closely monitoring the entire process.
Salvamento Santander, Salva Mar Deneb. We have decided to moor the vessel alongside. The water ingress is under control. We still have the motor pump on board the sailboat, and we will proceed with the vessel moored alongside towards Marina del Cantabrico.
Understood? We will contact Marina del Cantabrico. Head there as they will be expecting you.
Understood. Over.
With the situation stabilized and considering the state of the sea and the safety of the maneuver, Miguel decides that the safest option is to continue at half load until reaching the port. Micah, from the control room, could already see them entering the Bay of Santander. He promptly reached out to the Marina del Cantabrico Marina, requesting them to make ready the crane for the impending arrival of a vessel experiencing a water ingress.
Marina del Cantabrico Harbor.
Hello, Marina of the Cantabrian Sea, Maritime Rescue Santander. The vessel Sammy has a leak and is heading there to see if the crane is available.
Okay, I'll talk to the team leader now so they can get on it and get the boat out as soon as possible. They are coming with the Sammy to tow, to lift it up. But isn't that the one from the YouTuber? What a mess it has. So much Chinese, and it leaks water.
They quickly reorganized their schedule to give absolute priority to the arriving vessel. The 20 meters of the Salvamar are very difficult to maneuver in a marina. Depending on the circumstances, they are able to escort the vessel to the dock, leave it in the port's Zodiac, or in this particular instance, assist them in starting the engine so they can continue on their own. In the final few meters, the crane is fully prepared and the boat is making its way towards it, and everything appears to have concluded successfully. Upon returning to the base, they communicated with the control room, and ultimately, the operation was successfully concluded.
Deneb, Maritime Rescue, go ahead.
They returned to their usual state, or at least to that usual state which involves consistently being vigilant to what occurs and prepared for a new operation if it becomes necessary.
Understood, received. End of the emergency then. Thank you.
No matter how many resources there are, no matter how many people are there watching, no matter how many rules exist for our safety, we must understand that the responsibility for our actions lies solely in our hands. Prudence at sea should be our guide. We must be prepared, know our ships, have the necessary means, and understand that the closest help we will always have is ourselves. Indeed, ourselves and those around us. Having a well-prepared crew can be the difference between a scare and a disaster. Remember, the main mission of maritime rescue is to ensure the safety of people at sea. Our boats, our mistakes, our lack of knowledge, everything that can lead to damaging or even losing the vessel, it is not their priority and we should not think otherwise. They will use all the means to protect us. They will take care of our boats, tow us, and try to maintain the integrity of the vessel. But that has a cost, and it should be that way because the resources must be there to protect lives, not to rescue us from foolishness, for example, not refueling and getting stranded out there. Every year, with the start of the summer season, Maritime Rescue publishes a guide with advice and best practices for recreational boating. You can get it on their website, and it is full of very useful recommendations, with information about maritime communications, emphasizing the importance of VHF even today as a tool to communicate with those around you, including how weather reports are transmitted, navigation warnings, and the correct use of the onboard radio. And many tips on human life safety at sea with information on how to properly abandon the vessel, survival in the water, etc. Don't miss it because there's always something to learn. We should never think we know everything because it will never be the case.